Hey there, welcome to your deep dive. And today it's the Acura Integra Type R.
Oh, a classic.
Yeah, and we're going to zero in on the 1997 to 2001 DC2 chassis specifically.
Good choice. Good choice.
Yeah, you give us so much to work with here.
Lots to talk about.
It's amazing, like everything from, what people do to modify these and the racing history all the way to what it means culturally and the Japanese engineering behind it. It's really fascinating.
Yeah, and of course you can't, do a deep dive on a car without talking about how much it costs these days and what to watch out for if you're actually thinking about buying one.
Exactly. But we want to go deeper than just the numbers and the specs, right? We want to find out what makes this car so special, even all these years later.
It really is. I mean, the passion it evokes is just undeniable.
Absolutely. And speaking of passion, like the first thing that jumped out at me from all your research was just how much people modify these things.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a blank canvas for car enthusiasts, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It's a tuner's dream.
Yeah.
Even something as simple as a new intake or exhaust can make a huge difference.
Now, I saw you mention in your notes you're interested in getting a more aggressive sound.
Well, yeah.
It seems like cold air intakes are pretty popular with this car, like from companies like AEM and Engine.
Right.
What's the deal there? What makes them so special?
Well, a cold air intake does two main things. Okay, first, it improves airflow to the engine.
Which is essential.
Which, is key for performance, but also it just gives the engine a deeper, throatier sound, which is what a lot of Integra Type R owners want.
So it's not just aesthetics. There's a real performance benefit, too.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
Okay, so that's like the kind of approachable entry point to modifying it.
Right.
But then things get really interesting when we start talking about, engine tuning.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely. That's where the Integra Type R's engineering really shines.
Okay.
That B18C5 engine is just so responsive to tuning.
I have to admit, that's always been a little intimidating to me, engine tuning. Can you kind of break it down for me, like what's actually involved and what kind of gains are we talking about?
Sure. So you can start with an engine management system from a company like Hondata or AEM.
Okay.
Those allow you to tune the engine's parameters, getting the fuel and ignition timing just right.
So it's almost like you're like fine-tuning the brain of the car.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Okay.
And then, depending on what you want to do, you can go even further with internal modifications.
Okay.
For people who are really looking for serious horsepower, forged pistons and connecting rods are pretty much essential.
And I see you highlighted some specific brands like Wiseco and Eagle. What makes them stand out?
They're just known for their strength and durability.
Gotcha.
Which is really important when you're pushing an engine that hard.
Of course, yeah. And then there's the camshafts.
Oh, yeah. Camshaft upgrades can make a huge difference, especially in the high RPM range.
Yeah, and it seems like everybody's always chasing those high RPMs with this car.
Yeah, that's where it comes alive.
It really does, yeah. You mentioned like a full B18C5 rebuild with forged internals, aggressive cams, and tuning. That's a serious commitment.
Yeah.
What kind of cost are we looking at for something like that?
It's not for the faint of heart, that's for sure. You're looking at anywhere from like $4,000 to $6,000.
Yeah, that's a pretty penny.
Just for the engine.
Just for the engine, yeah. Okay, so you also mentioned individual throttle bodies, or ITBs.
Yes.
I have to admit, I don't really know a lot about those.
Sure.
What are they, and why are they such a big deal?
So basically, they're individual throttle bodies for each cylinder.
Okay.
Instead of having one for the whole engine.
So each cylinder gets its own little throttle body.
It's a pretty cool setup.
Yeah. What's the advantage of that?
It allows for incredibly precise control of the airflow.
Okay.
Which means sharper throttle response, and you can potentially squeeze out even more power.
Oh, wow. That sounds pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's not a mod for the casual enthusiast, though.
Yeah, I was going to say, I bet they don't come cheap.
No, a good set of ITBs plus the tuning and installation, you're looking at another like $2,000 to $3,000 on top.
Yeah, so it's quite an investment.
For sure.
Okay, so we've established this car is, a tuner's dream.
It really is.
Oh, but it's more than just performance, right?
Oh, yeah.
You also highlighted its pop culture significance. It's kind of become a cultural icon.
It has.
Yeah.
It really has.
Let's talk about movies and video games for a second. I know you mentioned Initial D and the Fast and the Furious franchise. Those are some pretty big names in car culture.
Huge, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's appearances in those movies, It cemented its status as a performance icon, especially for younger generations.
And you know what's interesting? A lot of people, their first experience with this car was probably through video games like Gran Turismo and Need for Speed.
Oh, yeah.
They were driving it virtually before they ever even saw one in person.
That's true.
It's amazing how digital experiences can fuel a real-world passion.
For sure.
So we've got this potent blend of performance potential and this kind of cultural cachet.
Yeah.
But to really understand the Integra Type R, I think we need to dig into its DNA, like its Japanese engineering.
Okay.
And this is where things get really interesting for me. You know,
Right.
you talk about lightweight design, high revving engines. Can you unpack that a little bit for me? Like, what does that actually mean in the context of this car, and why does it matter?
It's all about understanding the philosophy, and you're right, the Integra Type R, it embodies a lot of the core principles of Japanese car culture.
Okay, let's start with lightweight design.
Okay.
Like, what did Honda actually do to make this car so light?
I mean, they were obsessive about it.
Really?
Yeah, aluminum components wherever possible.
Wow.
Thinner windshield, even stripped out a lot of the sound deadening material.
Wow, a thinner windshield, that's dedication.
Yeah, all in the pursuit of performance.
Yeah. So it really shows how committed they were to shedding every ounce.
Yeah,
Then you've got this whole high revving engine thing going on. You
Yeah.
mentioned VTEC a lot.
right.
What is VTEC and why is it such a big deal for this car?
So VTEC stands for Variable Valve Timing and Lift Electronic Control.
Oh, wow. Mouthful.
Yeah, but basically it's a system that gives the engine two different personalities.
Okay.
At lower RPMs, it's all about fuel efficiency and smooth power delivery.
Okay.
But then, when you hit a certain RPM,
This is where it gets exciting. Yeah.
the engine just wakes up.
Right.
Around 5,800 RPM in the Integra Type R, VTEC kicks in, and it switches to a more aggressive cam profile.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, the engine's breathing more freely, and you get this, huge surge of power.
So it's like the engine has this split personality.
Yeah, exactly.
No wonder people rave about the VTEC experience.
Yeah, it's fun.
But, it's not just about raw power and lightweight engineering. You also mention the attention to detail, even in the interior of this car.
Mhm.
What stands out to you there?
Everything just feels purposeful,
Okay.
driver-focused. You've got the, iconic red-stitched Recaro seats, the Momo steering wheel, the aluminum shift knob.
Yeah.
It's all about enhancing the driving experience.
Yeah, you can tell a lot of thought went into creating that connection between the driver and the machine.
Absolutely.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground, but we can't shy away from, the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
These cars are not cheap.
Not anymore.
No.
Huh.
And you've highlighted pricing trends in your research, and yeah, they're definitely not cheap these days.
Clean, unmodified examples, you're looking at $25,000 to $50,000.
Wow, that's a lot of money.
Easily.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's just the starting point.
Wow. I can see why this car is so desirable, but is it really worth that much? Like, what would you say to someone who's thinking those prices are crazy?
Well, I mean, it's all about perspective, right?
Yeah.
For some people, it's a nostalgia thing, a connection to a certain era of car culture.
Yeah.
But for others, it's an investment. It's a piece of automotive history that's probably just going to keep going up in value.
So there's a lot of factors at play here. What's driving those high prices specifically? What should potential buyers be aware of?
Well, rarity's a big one.
Okay.
They didn't make that many Integra Type Rs, especially the DC2 chassis we're talking about.
Okay, limited supply.
Right.
Got it. What else?
Condition is everything.
Mm.
Collectors will pay top dollar for cars that are as close to factory spec as possible,
Yeah.
Unmodified, original paint, pristine interior. That's the holy grail.
So it's all about finding that unicorn,
Pretty much, yeah.
that perfectly preserved time capsule.
Yeah, which is tough with a car this old.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
That's why a thorough inspection is so important before you even think about buying one of these cars. We're going to dive deeper into that in a bit, but you really don't want to skip that step.
Absolutely not.
All right, so we'll make sure to cover all the essential buying tips.
Sounds good.
But for now, let's shift gears a little bit and talk about the Integra Type R's, its racing heritage.
Okay.
You highlighted its success in various touring car championships, and I have to admit, I'm really curious to hear more about that.
This car was made to race.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't just built for the street. It was designed with motorsport in mind. And its track record, it speaks for itself.
Okay, so you highlighted its dominance in touring car championships.
Right.
You even mentioned some endurance races in your research.
Yeah.
That's where I wanna geek out a little bit. Like, where did this car really make a name for itself?
Well, one of the most notable battlegrounds was the Japanese Touring Car Championship.
Okay, the JTCC.
The JTCC, yeah. Imagine these like nimble Integra Type Rs going head-to-head with much larger, more powerful cars.
And holding their own?
More than holding their own, they were winning.
Wow.
You know, the Integra Type R's lightweight design and incredible handling
Yeah.
made it a force to be reckoned with on those tight technical circuits.
That must have been amazing to watch.
Oh, yeah.
And its success wasn't limited to Japan, right? You mentioned the British Touring Car Championship as well?
BTCC, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So even across the globe, you know, on very different tracks, the Integra Type R was proving its capabilities.
Okay, so it wasn't just a one-trick pony.
No, not at all. And a lot of times it was privateer teams,
Mhm.
you know, often with more modest budgets
Yeah.
that were able to campaign this car and achieve some really impressive results.
I love that, like this little Honda kind of like taking on the establishment.
Yeah,
It really speaks volumes about the car's inherent performance potential.
for sure.
So now you mentioned something about One Make Racing Series in your notes.
Right.
Did Honda ever create a platform specifically to showcase what the Integra Type R could do?
They did. In Japan, there was the Honda One Make Race series.
Okay.
And it was just, you know, a grid full of Integra Type Rs, all battling it out.
Wow.
It was a true test of both driver skill and the car's capabilities.
So it was like a breeding ground for talent?
Yeah, and a way for Honda to really, you know, push the limits of the car.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just a marketing gimmick.
Right.
You know, these races provided valuable data that Honda could then use to further refine the car, both for racing and for future street versions.
That's fascinating. The racing program wasn't just about winning trophies. It was about continuous improvement.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, I see you've also highlighted the Integra Type R's presence in kind of like the amateur racing scene.
Right.
Is it still a contender, even today?
Oh, absolutely. You'll find them competing in SCCA club racing, NASA events, autocross, time attack,
Wow.
even endurance races like the 24 Hours of Lemons.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that this car, which is now decades old, can still be competitive in such a wide range of motorsports disciplines,
Yeah.
that says a lot about its design and engineering.
It's a testament to its enduring appeal.
For sure.
Okay, so we've established this car has some serious racing pedigree.
Yeah.
But let's shift gears for a moment and talk about its impact on car culture more broadly.
Okay.
The Integra Type R has kind of transcended the world of racing, wouldn't you say?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's become a true icon.
Yeah.
You know, it's influenced everything from movies and video games to the global tuner scene. It's the kind of car that sparks a passion that goes beyond just driving.
I'm curious, what are some of the most notable examples of its pop culture presence? I remember seeing it in the Fast and the Furious films, the street racing scenes.
Right.
There was definitely an Integra Type R or two in the mix.
Oh, absolutely. And, its appearance in those films, it really helped to solidify its reputation as, like, the go-to car for aspiring street racers.
Yeah.
But its influence extended beyond live-action films.
Okay.
The Integra Type R, specifically the DC2 we're talking about,
Yeah.
played a major role in the anime series Initial D.
Wait, I remember that show.
Yeah.
Wasn't one of the main characters driving a white Integra Type R?
Yes. Kyoichi Sudo, a skilled racer known for his aggressive driving style,
Yeah.
piloted a white DC2. And the show's depiction of these, intense high-speed battles on winding mountain roads,
Right.
it just captured the imaginations of a whole generation of car enthusiasts.
Yeah, definitely romanticized the whole driving experience,
Yeah.
especially with a car like the Integra Type R.
For sure.
And speaking of capturing imaginations, we can't forget about the countless video games that have featured this car. I mean, I know I spent countless hours virtually driving and modifying Integra Type Rs in games like Gran Turismo.
Oh, yeah. It was rite of passage for so many young car enthusiasts.
Yeah.
Those digital experiences allowed people to explore the performance and tuning potential of the car
Yeah.
in a way that was accessible and, let's face it, much safer than pushing the limits in the real world.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's amazing how those virtual experiences can fuel a real-world passion.
Mm-hmm.
It's a testament to the power of car culture and how deeply it can resonate with people.
For sure.
Now, speaking of tuning, you've compiled a lot of research on the modifications that people make to these cars,
Yeah.
from mild to wild.
Right.
What are some of the key trends you've noticed?
Well, the Integra Type R, it's a tuner's dream.
Yeah.
There's a massive aftermarket for this car with parts available from some of the most respected names in the industry: Spoon, Mugen, Jay's Racing,
Hmm.
you name it.
It's really a blank canvas for enthusiasts to kind of personalize and enhance their cars.
Absolutely. Some people focus on maximizing performance,
Mm-hmm.
pushing the engine to its limits with upgraded turbos, intercoolers, exhaust systems.
Right.
Others prefer to enhance the handling, with adjustable suspension components, bigger brakes, lightweight wheels.
Yeah, it's all about finding that perfect balance between power, grip, and control.
Exactly.
Mm.
And then there are those who focus on aesthetics, adding body kits, spoilers, custom paint jobs
Right.
to create a truly unique and eye-catching car.
It's almost like a form of self-expression,
Yeah.
a way to make the car truly their own.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And then you've got the whole world of engine swaps.
Oh, yeah.
Some enthusiasts go even further and swap out the B18C5 engine for something like even more powerful, like the K-Series engine
Right.
found in later Honda models.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So it's not just about modifying the existing engine, it's about exploring entirely new possibilities.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the Integra Type R is really a platform that allows for incredible creativity and personalization. It's a car that encourages you to experiment, to push the boundaries of what's possible.
For sure.
Before we get too lost in the world of modifications, let's take a step back and kind of revisit those Japanese influences that shaped this car.
Okay.
You've highlighted those influences throughout your research, and
Right.
I think it's really key to understanding what makes the Integra Type R so special.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The car's design and engineering philosophy, they're deeply rooted in Japanese car culture. And those influences, they're evident in every aspect of the car.
Okay, so let's break it down. You've mentioned lightweight design, high revving engines, attention to detail.
Right.
How do those concepts actually manifest themselves in the Integra Type R?
Well, we talked earlier about, Honda's obsession with minimizing weight,
Yeah.
aluminum components wherever possible, thinner windshield, they even removed sound-deadening material, all in the name of performance.
It's amazing how they were able to shave off, every possible ounce without compromising the structural integrity of the car.
Yeah, it's a testament to their engineering prowess. And it wasn't just about weight savings.
Right.
The Integra Type R, it embodies the Japanese philosophy of high-revving, naturally aspirated engines.
Okay.
That B18C5 engine, with its VTEC system, it's a masterpiece of engineering.
You mentioned VTEC earlier, and I'm still kind of fascinated by how the system works.
Yeah.
It's like the engine has two distinct personalities.
It really does. At lower RPMs, it's all about, smooth power delivery and fuel efficiency.
Okay.
But when those revs climb past a certain point,
Like a switch flips.
yeah, the engine comes alive
Right.
around 5,800 RPM. VTEC engages, the cam profile switches,
Oh.
and the engine suddenly breathes more freely.
Yeah.
And you get this incredible surge of power that pushes you back in your seat.
It's no wonder people get so excited about the VTEC experience.
Oh, it's a lot of fun.
But, it's not just about raw power, is it? You've also highlighted the Japanese emphasis on precision and driver feedback.
Absolutely. The Integra Type R's handling is a direct reflection of that philosophy.
Okay.
The car's double wishbone suspension,
Yeah.
the stiff chassis, the precise steering,
Yeah.
they all work together to deliver a driving experience that is both engaging and rewarding.
It's a car that makes you feel connected to the road,
Yeah.
the machine.
Exactly.
And then you have the Japanese attention to detail,
Right.
which is evident throughout the car.
Yeah, the red stitch Recaro seats, the Momo steering wheel, the aluminum shift knob.
Yeah.
These details aren't just aesthetic flourishes. They're designed to enhance the driving experience, to make you feel like you're truly in control.
It's all about creating this holistic experience where every element works together to achieve a common goal.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And that's what makes the Integra Type R so special.
Yeah.
It's a car that was built with passion, precision, and a deep understanding of what makes driving truly enjoyable.
Okay, let's be realistic for a second.
Okay.
We've talked about the car's, legendary status, its racing pedigree, its cultural impact.
Right.
But we also have to acknowledge that these cars are not getting any cheaper.
True.
As we discussed earlier, clean, unmodified examples of the DC2 Integra Type R
Yeah.
can easily fetch prices ranging from $25,000 to $50,000.
Yeah, and exceptional examples can go for much more.
Those are some serious figures.
They are.
I can see why some people might be hesitant to jump into this market.
Sure.
So for those who are dreaming of owning one of these legends, what advice would you give them?
Okay.
What are the key things to watch out for when buying a used Integra Type R?
Well, first and foremost, you need to verify authenticity.
Oh, okay.
This is especially important with a car as desirable and sought after as the Integra Type R.
You mentioned checking the VIN in your notes.
Right.
What should potential buyers be looking for?
The VIN should start with JH4DC2 for USDM models.
Okay.
And the engine code should be B18C5 for the US version. It's important to make sure everything matches up.
So it's all about doing your research and knowing what to look for.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And beyond verifying authenticity, a thorough inspection is paramount.
Okay.
You need to be meticulous here, looking for any signs of rust, accident damage, or wear and tear. That could indicate potential problems down the road.
You specifically highlighted rust as a major concern.
Yeah.
Where are the most common trouble spots?
Focus on the rear wheel wells,
Yeah.
the undercarriage, and the spare tire well.
Okay.
These are areas that are particularly susceptible to rust,
Right.
especially if the car has been driven in harsh winter conditions.
So it's almost like you need to become a detective when inspecting one of these cars.
You do. You're looking for any clues that might reveal the car's history and potential problems.
Right.
Don't be afraid to, get down on your hands and knees and really scrutinize every inch of the car.
And of course, no inspection is complete without a test drive, right?
Absolutely not. This is where you can really get a feel for the car and how it drives.
Yeah.
First and foremost, listen for that VTEC engagement.
Oh, yeah.
It should kick in smoothly at around 5,800 RPM.
It's like listening for the heartbeat of the car.
Exactly. And if there's any hesitation or roughness, it could indicate a problem with the VTEC system or the engine itself.
Okay.
Also, pay close attention to how the car shifts through the gears.
Yeah.
Any grinding or resistance could be a sign of synchro problems in the transmission.
So listen for any strange noises or vibrations.
Yeah, and don't forget to check the suspension.
Okay.
Drive over some bumps and listen for any clunks or rattles.
Okay.
That could indicate worn bushings or ball joints.
It sounds like you need to engage all your senses when test driving an Integra Type R.
You do. You're trying to get a complete picture of the car's condition and how it performs.
Now, you also emphasize the importance of reviewing the maintenance history.
Right.
What are the red flags potential buyers should be looking for?
Prioritize cars with detailed records of timing belt replacements, water pump changes, and valve adjustments. These are critical maintenance items that, if neglected, can lead to costly repairs down the road.
So a well-documented maintenance history is a good indicator that the car has been properly cared for.
Exactly. And be wary of cars with unknown modification histories
Okay.
or tuned ECUs without supporting dyno sheets.
Yeah.
You never know what you're getting into with those.
It's best to stick with stock or cars with well-documented modifications from reputable tuners.
For sure.
Okay.
And finally, be aware of the theft risk.
Oh, right.
Integra Type Rs are highly sought after by thieves.
Yeah.
So make sure to confirm the ownership history
All right.
and check for stolen part VINs. It's always better to be safe than sorry.
Great advice. It sounds like buying one of these cars requires a bit of detective work,
Yes.
a bit of mechanical knowledge, and a healthy dose of caution.
Yeah.
But for the right person, the rewards can be immense.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For those who are passionate about driving, who appreciate a well-engineered machine,
Yeah.
and who are willing to put in the effort to find a good example,
Yeah.
the Integra Type R is a dream come true.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
We have.
We've explored the Integra Type R's, legendary status, its tuning potential, its cultural impact, and its deep roots in Japanese engineering. We've even delved into its racing heritage
Right.
and provided some essential buying tips.
A lot of information.
I think so. But before we wrap up this episode, I want to take a moment to kind of reflect on what we've learned.
Okay.
And consider the Integra Type R's place in automotive history.
Right.
It's more than just a car, wouldn't you say? It's more than just a car, wouldn't you? It feels like we've uncovered this cultural phenomenon.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's a piece of automotive history that continues to resonate with people today.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about its impact on pop culture, its racing heritage,
Right.
the passion that it evokes in enthusiasts.
Yeah.
What do you think is at the heart of its enduring appeal? Like, what makes it so special, even all these years later?
I think it boils down to the purity of the driving experience,
Okay.
In a world that's increasingly dominated by technology and automation,
Right.
the Integra Type R is a reminder of a time when cars were more mechanical, more analog,
Yeah.
more raw.
It's a car that demands your attention,
Yeah.
your skill, your respect.
Absolutely.
You mentioned in your research that it's a driver's car in the truest sense.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you?
It means that it's a car that rewards the driver who's willing to put in the effort to learn its nuances,
Okay.
to master its capabilities.
Right.
It's not a car that'll, coddle you or do the work for you.
Yeah.
It's a car that will challenge you, push you to be a better driver.
It's about that connection between the driver and the machine. That feeling of being in complete control of pushing the limits of what's possible.
For sure.
And it seems like that experience resonates with people on a very deep level.
It does, absolutely.
Yeah.
It taps into that primal desire for speed, for agility, for pushing boundaries.
Mm.
And it does it in a way that's both exhilarating and rewarding.
I think you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
It's not just about the car itself. It's about the feeling it evokes.
Right.
The experience it provides.
Exactly.
It's a reminder that driving can be more than just transportation. It can be
An art form.
an art form, a passion, a way of life.
Yeah, beautifully put. And I think that's why the Integra Type R continues to hold such a special place in the hearts of car enthusiasts around the world.
Yeah.
It's a car that represents a time when driving was more about the journey than the destination.
It's a legacy of passion, performance, and pure driving enjoyment.
Yeah, and that legacy will continue to inspire for generations to come.
Well said. I think that's the perfect note to end on. We've reached the end of our deep dive into the Acura Integra Type R.
It's been fun.
It has been, yeah.
Yeah.
We hope you've enjoyed this journey as much as we have.
Yeah, me too.
It's been fascinating to explore the history, the engineering, the culture, and the sheer passion that surrounds this incredible machine.
And we hope it sparked a deeper appreciation for what makes the Integra Type R so special.
Yeah.
Even decades after its production ended.
Remember, this deep dive was tailored specifically for you based on the source material you provided. If any questions come up or you want to explore other facets of this iconic car, please don't hesitate to reach out.
We're always here to help.
Until next time, keep the passion for driving alive.